everybody, my name is Michaela. I work at the Nelson Community Food Center where we like to bring people together around good food, which is what we're doing here today with you guys. So normally I teach cooking classes and that's not really an option these days, so I've been doing these cool food videos. And today I am going to show you how to make salad rolls. So these are one of my favorite foods. You can put pretty much anything in them and they're perfect for the summer because they don't involve any kind of stove, oven, hot heat. You can just sort of make these in your cool kitchen and not change the temperature too much. So we are going to talk about knife skills today.
Knife skills.
That's the main focus of this video. So here I have my handy dandy knife and I will show you how I like to hold a knife, which is I grab the handle and here I have my pointer finger on the bottom of the knife, my thumb on the top. So this gives me a lot of control. A lot of kids I find like to use tiny knives, which I totally understand. You've got tiny hands, but I will tell you when you're cutting a cucumber, a big vegetable like this, if you're holding your knife properly, you're gonna have a lot of control and it actually will be safe if you're doing it the safe way. So I'm gonna show you how to safely cut a cucumber. We're gonna cut the end off here and I'm gonna put this into my little compost bucket I have on the counter. And then I'm gonna cut this cucumber in half. So I've got my fingers bracing and we are making a nice flat edge here. So when I'm cutting something that's round and it's rolling around, this carrot for example, it's not very safe. But if I have a flat surface that I'm putting the vegetable down on, it's gonna be a lot more safe. So we're gonna cut these cucumbers into long, thin strips that are gonna fit really nicely into our rice paper wrappers. So you'll see here, I've got my fingers in the brace position. Not like this, because that's gonna maybe give me a cut off finger, which I don't really want here. So I'm gonna put my fingers in this nice brace and I'm gonna just chop, chop, chop away. And they don't have to be perfect. The more that you cut, the more that you practice in the kitchen, the more confidence you have with your knife, the easier this is all gonna be and the nicer your cuts are gonna be. But it takes time, like everything in this life. All right, so I've got my cucumber and I'm gonna pop it over to my other cutting board. And we are gonna call this our mise en place, which is sort of a fancy cooking term. And that means everything in its place. So when I'm making pretty much anything, I wanna prep all of my ingredients first and I wanna have them nicely spread out onto a cutting board or a platter so that when it comes to the cooking portion or the preparing portion of the meal, I'm gonna have everything ready to go and I don't have to think about it so much. So here, I'm gonna get this other guy cut. Beautiful. I'm gonna pop those guys over there. And a handy tip about salad rolls is if you're looking at me cutting these cucumbers and you're thinking, that looks a little bit too tricky for me, you can just grate them. So they're gonna get really juicy, but grater is always a nice option for salad rolls. We are gonna move on to our peppers next. So I'm gonna cut the top of this pepper off. We've got a really nice tight grip on it there while I slice the top off. And I'm gonna turn that guy over here. And I'm gonna cut down the edges around these seeds. And these are gonna give me really nice seedless chunks and I can get this white pith out of there just easily. Oh, that one just wants to come off by itself. So I'm gonna just tear the seed pod out. Beautiful. Peppers. Peppers were one of the first things that I learned to cut really well because I worked at a pizza shop when I was 15 and I had to cut all the peppers for the pizza. So here I am going to cut these guys into also nice long strips and I'm continuing to hold my knife the way that I showed you at the beginning and I'm still bracing with my fingers here. Beautiful. These guys are going over to the, yeah, you guessed it, the mise en place. Here we go. Beautiful. This is always a good recipe to kind of start with if you're new in the kitchen, because it's gonna just really give you all that practice. If you make salad rolls once a week, you're gonna be amazing at cutting vegetables. All right. And over here. There we go. I'm gonna cut this little chunk off and just have that as a snack for later, because it's not gonna fit so nicely into the salad roll. Beautiful! We've got our yellow peppers. Another thing that I love about salad rolls is how colorful they can be. You can get sort of like one of every color of the rainbow and put them all inside of the wrap. All right, we're gonna move on to apples, which is sort of an unusual thing to put into the salad rolls, but I think that it's delicious. They're crunchy, they're a little bit sweet. It's not gonna make it sweet like a dessert, but it's just gonna have a really nicely balanced flavor in there with all the rest of the vegetables. So, I'm gonna show you how to julienne an apple. So we wanna make a couple really thin slices first, and then we're gonna cut those guys into, julienne just means kind of like the shape of a matchstick. So they're gonna be nice and little. So again, I'm doing my classic brace on the top here, and I am going to cut some thin little strips. Maybe this is part that your parents could help you with, and then you could do the next cutting. Oh, that one's not perfect, but that's okay, I'm still gonna use it. And we'll flip the apple to the other side and do the same thing. And now I'm gonna put it on its flat side like I told you earlier. Everything is easier to cut if it's on a flat edge. Everything, I'm telling you, every single thing is easier to cut with a flat edge. And we've left quite a lot of apple on this course. So again, this is a nice little snack you can munch on while you're cooking away or after the fact. Okay, so we've got our nice little flat pieces of apple here, and I'm just gonna stack them up. Doop, 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 doop. Here we go, that guy can go in there. These guys can go like this. Got our round bits there. And I'm gonna go ahead and julienne these guys. So, I've got my bridge position, got my handy dandy knife in its extendo arm mode, super safe, lots of control. Put those fingers up like that, and we are gonna cut our stack into these little matchsticks. Or as the fancy chefs call it, a julienne. So I've got these nice little pieces, and they're going to fit perfectly into our salad rolls. Pop them over to the mise en place, and we'll just go ahead and do the rest. So if you're watching me cut and you're going, holy smokes, that's fast. I'm telling you, I've been cutting things every day for many, many years, and it makes it much easier if you practice cooking regularly. And the great thing about that is that everybody needs to eat, so it makes a lot of sense to be practicing all the time. We'll cut these little round ones. These ones you don't want to stack, because it's the same kind of concept I was talking about earlier with the flat and the round, and if we stacked these, this guy could slip around, and that looks like a perfect recipe for a little finger cut, which that's not what we're aiming for today. We're here for salad rolls, not for injuries. The skin is quite a lot harder to cut through, and that's that loud sound you're hearing. You could also just snack on these for later. I'll put them in my little snack pile. So we've got our cucumber, we've got our pepper, we've got our apple. Next I'm going to show you the avocado. So you want to use a ripe avocado. This one is softer than the other one, so we're going to go with this guy here. And avocados are a really common injury, because a lot of people hold the avocado in their hand like this, and then they hold their knife like this, and they cut And this is, again, a perfect recipe for a cut on your hand. If you're holding your avocado and you're trying to cut it, it's not so safe. So we're gonna put the, ooh, holy smokes. We're gonna put the avocado down on the cutting board, and I'm going to do my brace again, and I'm gonna put my knife into that guy, and I'm actually gonna rotate the avocado. So I'll turn it up, and I'll keep my knife kind of pressing in there, and I'm gonna go all the way around. And then this is extremely satisfying if you've never done this before. You can kind of twist, boop, and there you go, beautiful avocado. So a fancy tip about avocados is that they're peelable, just like a banana. A lot of people don't know that. How do you get that beautiful shaped avocado? You peel it, that's how. So I'm gonna cut this into quarters, and I am going to peel off the corner. Look. Oh, so satisfying. It was meant to come off that way, you can tell, right? I'm gonna do that again. And pop that in there. And I'm gonna do the same with the last half of the avocado. So I'm gonna pop this guy over, and I'm gonna do kind of a brace across the knife here, which is something you don't always wanna do, but there's certain moments in cooking that you kind of have to. And we will do the same thing for the bottom there, all the way through, beautiful, and we will pop this part out, the pit. Oh, it's stuck in there. Slowly but surely. We don't want to ruin the avocado. Beautiful, pit has been removed. We will continue with our peeling. Last quarter. When I'm prepping things, especially avocado, I like to do all of the stages at once. I kind of peeled those in two parts, but if I'm cutting multiple avocados, I want to get them all into this state before I do the next part, which is the cutting. And just because your hands get kind of dirty or avocado-y while you're working, and then you're trying to touch an avocado again, you got a slippery hand, you got to wash them, it's all kind of dangerous. So doing them all in sections like that, so cutting them all across their middle and then peeling them all and then slicing them all, it's a really great way to do this. So now I'm going to slice these guys up. And mise en place. So I cut the first couple slices there, and then, I don't know if you saw me do this a second ago, I flip it over to make it a bit shorter. It's easier to cut when it's shorter. Okay, and the last ingredient we're going to prep right here is our carrots, which we are going to grate. It's just easier. Got my grater, so you can hold the whole carrot and grate it like this. I'm going to cut it into smaller chunks. Boop. And we will go from there. So grating is something that's easy for kids, but it also, again, can be dangerous. You don't want to have goopy avocado hands. Your fingers are going to slip. You might let go of that carrot, and it's not so nice if you get a little cut from the grater here. So you want to really watch what you're doing, and you don't want to get too close to your fingers. That's pretty close to the end. I'm gonna put this in my little snack pile. And we'll do the other half. again, getting pretty close there. Guys, going in the snack pile. And look at all this beautiful shredded carrot, which is good in so many things. Salad rolls, on your sandwich. Oh, there we are. And I lied, I said that was my last ingredient I was prepping here, but I have to do my herbs. So in your packages that you've received all these ingredients in, you will be getting basil. I do not have basil, I have lemon balm, which is kind of unusual. But again, salad rolls are really cool because you can kind of mix it up. You can put whatever you've got a little bit of into the salad roll. And I also understand if you don't want to have basil as a kid, because as a child, you have very, very strong taste buds. They're hypersensitive. And things like really strong herbs or really strong cheese might not taste that good to you because your tasters are like going crazy. It's too strong. So I totally get it if you don't want to put the basil in. Maybe your parents will want it. And I also get it if you do want it because it's pretty delicious once you can finally get around to accepting that. So while I was talking there, I did something I want to explain to you. So I stacked up all of my leaves here. Got a nice little leaf stack. And I'm gonna roll those guys up. Into this nice little herb roll. And they're just a heck of a lot easier to cut when they're in a roll like that. So I am just chopping these guys up from their little roll. And we're gonna have some really nicely cut pieces of lemon balm. Here we are. Look at that. Oh, and it smells actually, I think it's gonna go perfectly in this dish. It's funny. Wouldn't have thought of it before. Okay, onto the mise en place. It goes. Beautiful. And I'll pop all these extra ingredients over here. Cleaning up as we go. That is sort of one of the keys to cooking at home. Because it sucks when you finish and you eat your food and it's so good, and then you're kind of feeling all sleepy from your food and you've got a big mess in your kitchen. So it's always nice to kind of clean as you're working. And here I have some beautiful lettuce I'm going to be using from our garden at the Nelson Community Food Center, which is just thriving this summer. And that's going to go here on our mise en place as well. Leave that in the bowl. These guys, you could tear up a little bit, but they're going to work perfectly fine in the size that they're in there. Pop that there. I am going to be right back. I'm going to wipe off my cutting board. Okay. So, we've got all of our ingredients here. We've got our rice paper wrappers here. And I'm going to be using a little bit of vermicelli noodles, which I'm going to strain. I will be right back. And I'm back. I've got my vermicelli noodles that I was talking about earlier. They're also going to be going into our rice paper rolls. So these guys came in a package, and I just put them into this bowl, and I poured 1 kettle of boiling water on top. I put a plate on top of there, and I let them sit for 5 minutes. And now they're nice and soft. And you could totally rinse these with some cold water so they're easier to touch. And I'm just going to pop these guys over here. So this is what I'm working with, my beautiful ingredients. I've got my vermicelli. And next I'm going to talk about the rice paper wrappers, which are so delicious. So often people use boiling water for these, but I find when you use boiling water that they get really gooey really quickly. So I'm using just sort of warm water, and I'm going to pop them into my bowl of warm water here. So I'm doing one at a time. This is the fun part. So it still feels pretty papery in there, but the cool thing about these is that they're going to continue absorbing the water and they will get soft. So you can see that or hear that. Sounds kind of crinkly, but if you just watch me for a minute, you'll be amazed. They will soften, it will soften right up. So I'm going to put some lettuce down to start. And I'm going to do that sort of in the bottom third of my circle here. I'm going to put a little bit of vermicelli noodles on top. Nice. And go in with our next ingredients. So we've got a cucumber. I'm going to put that guy there. I'm going to pop in a couple of peppers, a couple pieces of avo, some nice fresh crunchy apple. We've got a pinch of our shredded carrot. that manages to just get everywhere. Shredded carrot is like the glitter of the kitchen world. And we're gonna go in with a little bit of our herbs. Did I forget anything? Nope, I think I've got it all. And I'm gonna start the rolling process. So, like I told you, it's all soft and gooey now. I'm gonna grab the bottom here and I'm gonna roll that all the way over and kind of tuck in those ingredients. And we're gonna go in with that side and this side. If you've ever rolled burritos, it's pretty similar. And then we're gonna tuck. It's also kind of like rolling up a sleeping bag. We're gonna keep tucking as we're going and make it nice and tight. The tighter it is, I think like the nicer it is to eat, to be honest. So there we go. There's a nice little salad roll. Crunchy, crispy goodness. You can put whatever you've got going in these. They're pretty fun. They're pretty exciting. You could put fruit. You could just make them just straight fruit. Mango, kiwi, deliciousness. Or you could go savory. You could add some chicken, you could add some tofu, you could add some shrimp for protein. Salad rolls are a favorite. They're great to do with friends or to bring to potluck when we're allowed to do that again. Everybody always loves salad rolls. So you guys will be receiving in your packages some peanut sauce, which is a perfect dip to go with these. There's gonna be a little recipe card of how you can make that peanut sauce at home. So I just wanna say thank you so much for participating in our Salad Roll 101 project. Hopefully we've got some more recipes coming to you kids soon, and otherwise we've been making some goofy kitchen YouTube videos and you can check those out to learn how to make some basic kitchen items. So I'm Michaela, and thank you so much from the Nelson Community Food Center for participating in this program. I hope you guys enjoy the salad rolls.